Hey everyone, it's Nod Lammers of Invoked 101. Welcome back. And today we're looking at one of my absolute favorite archetypes and decks in the entire game, and that is Speedroid. This is Speedroid Kashtira, so if you don't have those cards available, I'm sorry. This, in my opinion, is the best way to play Speedroid. I took this to locals yesterday, so at the time of uploading this, hopefully 2 days ago. I think this will go up Monday. I got second place with it, which was really cool. This was an amazing deck. It performed really, really well, and I'm really happy with this version of it. The previous one, where I only had 2 unicorns, was a little bit brickier. I don't know if that was... I don't know how that one went. It felt different. This felt more like Speedroids to me, and it was really, really cool to use everything at this deck's disposal. With that out of the way, before we get into the deck profile, if you don't mind, go check out those links in the description and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in our Discord. With that said, main deck monsters. Starting off with the best cards in the deck. Terratop, I saw this in my opening hand a good number of times. It's your main starter, or one of your main starters. Really good card, searches, special summons. It does everything you'd want in a good starter. Fortunately, limited because us Speedroid players must suffer. That's okay though, because we do have a normal summonable Terratop in the form of Marble Machine. Unfortunately, it is a pendulum monster, so it doesn't go to grave, which does kind of suck, mainly with rolling a 3 on wheel. But overall, still a really good card. This is definitely one of those things where, like, you special Terratop and you search Marble. It's really, really cool. Does let you go off a lot of the times. Really good card. After that, we played 3 of Tactomborg. Tactomborg is absolutely bonkers. Free special summonable non-tuner who contribute himself to turn into any Speedroid tuner in the deck. Really, really strong card. Really, really good card. Definite 3 of. The last of the multiple copy non-tuners that we play is Ultra Hound. Ultra Hound is a level 3 new Speedroid who on normal summon gets to dump a Speedroid card from deck to grave, and then he has the ability during the turn he was during a turn he was not sent to the graveyard. You can banish him, shuffle a Speedroid back into your deck, and special summon a Speedroid from your extra deck whose total level is equal to that monster, the returned monster's level. So really, really cool. Lets you summon Puzzle and Cork Gun, so you can get a level 4 non-tuner or a level 3 tuner out of the extra deck. Really, really good card. Really, really cool card. Then we played, for our one-ofs, we played 1 double yo-yo. This guy is really good. I got my Starfoil rare because I'm flexy like that. On normal summon, you get a special summon a level 3 or lower Speedroid from grave, which is really, really cool. And 1 Horse Stilts. I don't know how much I like Horse Stilts. It's a Foolish Burial, except for the turn that it was sent to grave. So, like, during another turn, you can Foolish Burial any wind monster. And on normal summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Speedroid from your hand. It's kind of good for brick hands, and it's also a good kind of like search off of what's his name, the Rubber Band Shooter. It's okay. It's not my favorite card, but I do like having him in the deck. I did side him out a couple times though, so there's another level 4. Speedroids don't have a ton of level 4s, so it is good to have. That's it for the non-tuners. This is kind of a monster mass strategy, so do keep that in mind. Then for the tuners, the only one we played 3 of was Cart Turbo, and we played 3 of this because it can special summon itself. This is just one you want to see, mainly because it does special itself. It doesn't need to require a normal or a special off Den or Tactomborg, so really, really good card there. Speaking of Den, we played 2. The reason we played 2 Den is because of his effect to banish himself from grave, to special summon a Speedroid tuner from hand or grave. Really good recursion, really, really strong monster. Definite worth it. And he's a level 3 tuner, which is, of course, really strong. So you can, if you have a tuner in your hand, you can special this off Tactomborg, Synchro, bring out another tuner. Really, really good. Not the last tuner we play. I played 2 dice. Now, not everyone's on 2 dice. Some people are only playing 1. I really like Red-Eyed Dice. I've been on 2 dice at least for as long as the deck has existed. I think this card is nuts. You can special it off Horse. You can special it off Tactomborg. Bring it back off of Den, bring it out of your hand off Den. It on summon, it lets you modulate one other Speedroid monster's level. It's really good, and it's basically the only way you can use a Cork Shooter. So just one of those things where it's a really good tuner monster, and I think it's really strong, and yeah, I like playing 2, especially because if you roll a 2, at least this way you can make the Link monster with these guys, and they're in your grave, so you don't have to worry about them bricking you. The last Speedroid monster we played was Fukumadoshi Piper, and this guy is really, really cool. So on normal or special, you can excavate cards from the top of the deck equal to the number of other wind monsters you control, so that's really cool. And then it says you get to add one of them and put the other back to the bottom of the deck in any order, but then it has the effect of you can banish this card from grave, target one level 3 or higher wind monster, reduce its level by 2. You can only use each effect of Fukumadoshi Piper once per turn. So really, really cool effect. Never used the other effect, but I did end up using the excavation quite a few times. So really, really strong card. Lets you dig for speed recovery, which is what this deck needed. So really good card there. That is it for Speedroid monsters. Everything else from here is non-Speedroid monsters. There's some more Speedroid stuff when we get to the spells and traps. Starting us off with our extra engines, we're playing Kashtira, which just consists of 3 unicorn and 1 birth. This is a really strong extra engine for this deck. Having a level 7 that you can special summon for free, that searches its own monster reborn, or if you draw both, you can just normal summon it, which does kind of suck. That does kind of hurt. But like I said, if you link it off, you get to bring it back, and of course these also serve as interruptions for Speedroid, so you get to rip cards out of your opponent's extra deck and have like a pseudo called by the grave, which is really, really nice. I'd say more like a DD Crow, actually, like a DD Crow for 3 and an extra deck rip, which is really, really nice. And also just a 2500 free beater with Dark Magician stats on that, so really, really cool cards, really useful for the deck. Hand traps, 3 Ash, 3 Ghost Mourner. This came up actually like quite a few times. I am glad I had this because there was a couple games where like if I didn't have this, I would have 100% lost. So really glad I had that. And then 3 Imperm. So basically 6 Veilers and Ash. Originally the Mourners wore Winds, but I ended up swapping them for Mourners, and yeah, I don't know. This deck definitely does feel like it bricks a few times, and I wish that there was a good draw card that Speedroids could use, like an Allure of Darkness, but for wind monsters or something like that. Maybe one day, maybe when we get the Gusto structure deck that Konami has been really dragging its feet on, we're supposed to get that at some point. Maybe we'll get like a Wind Pot of Greed or something, but for now, this is... I'd say Ghost Mourner is the flex spot if you want to play something else. That's for the hand traps. Moving into the spells and traps here. We played 3 speed recovery. This is like one of the best cards in the deck. I would say this is like one of the strongest monster reborn spells for any archetype ever. Non once per turn, reborn from grave, and then during the next turn you get to banish it and add your Speedroids back from grave to hand. So really, really, really nice card. Really insane card for this archetype, and just overall wonderful. Yeah, you got to play 3 of this. It's an extender, it's recovery, it's fantastic. One of the best cards in the archetype. Flipping this off of Fukumadoshi Piper feels so good. Really, really does. 2 Speedroid Wheel. So I saw a lot of players playing 3 of this, and on it, you don't need to. You can main 2 and you're just fine. This was, especially since a lot of Speedroid players think that this card is kind of mid, and it kind of is. So you discard a card as cost, roll a 6-sided die, and then special summon from your hand and/or deck, 1 or 2 Speedroid monsters who total level equal to the result, but negate their effects. If you do not special summon, you lose life points to the result times 500. You can only activate 1 wheel per turn. So it is a quick play, which is really nice, but so you can activate it in like standby phase, which is pretty cool. I chained this to a on activation of a anti-spell, so you just chain that to it, get 2 free monsters. 100%. It did get ashed, but hey, might as well try, right? So, and it got rid of the ash out of their hands. So 1 Duplicate. This is it for the Speedroid spells and traps. Duplicate is a level eater. You chew 1 level off a monster if it's in grave. You chew a level off a Speedroid, and then you special summon it, which is really, really cool. Or is it target 1 level 2 or higher Speedroid? Yeah, reduces level by 1 if you do special on this card as a normal monster. Machine Tuner, win level 1/0/0. It's not treated as a trap card, which is really, really cool. And then it's a flip effect, like on activation, is banish a wind monster from your graveyard, then target a card your opponent controls as cost. Return it to the hand. So it's a compulse. Really cool card. Just a really strong trap card that Speedroids have. They have one way to search it, but you're not searching it with that card. But yeah, so a Calm Pulse and a Level Eater all on one card. You can only use the second effect, the Level Eater effect, once per duel though, so do keep that in mind. It is a pretty nice card though. Really nice card. For the other stuff, we played a Tactics package, 2 Tactics, 1 Thrust. Thrust does come up. You get to add, speed recovery with this, which is really cool. Just adding speed recovery with this, or talents for the draw. And that's the main reason I was playing talents, was to draw cards. It came up a couple of times where like my opponent would like ash me or whatever, and I'd just be like, all right, cool, draw 2. And yeah, so that's the main reason we're playing talents. This deck is susceptible as like all get out to affect Veiler, Mourner, Ash, Ogre. It's really weak to those, so playing talents does help. And then 1 Called By, again, just kind of anti-hand trap stuff. I'd rather just keep comboing than actually try and like play around hand traps, which is kind of what this is for. Especially since the extra deck is so versatile, which it's extra deck time. Let's get right into it. So starting us off, we're going to start off with the Link Monster. 1 copy of Rubber Band Shooter. This is the extra normal summon and the search. It also sends 1 to grave, so that's really cool. The most famous thing that this thing does for the archetype is it can guarantee a search for for Terratop by searching Terratop and Yo-Yo, since what that does is it either adds Terratop to your hand or sends it to the grave, and now you have Yo-Yo in your hand, so you can just bring back Terratop. Personally, I think it's better to add the Yo-Yo. That's just my opinion. This is a non-linear combo deck, so it does depend on what else you have. That's the only Link Monster we play, since it locks you into Wind and it locks you into Synchros. So moving down the line, we have 1 Cork Shooter, the other shooter of the deck. And what this does is on Synchro Summon, you can either revive its materials, or you can add a Speedroid Speller Trap from deck to hand. It's really cool that you get to revive its materials, especially since that lets you just extend, which is really nice. But you can only use each effect once per turn, and the turn you activate it, you can't special summon monsters. You can't special summon monsters except for Wind, but that's fine. That's the entire deck. I even told my opponent, I was like, hey, by the way, at some point I got locked into Wind monsters. It doesn't matter. And he's like, oh. Then we played, for our 5, we played Chanbara for the double attacking and the OTK potential. We played Hagoda. Now this is pretty cool. So there is actually some niche effects with Hagoda in the current meta. So not only does it bring itself back if you control a Speedroid tuner, there kind of is a reason to leave it on the field, because if your opponent is playing Sprite, you can tribute its effect as a quick effect to turn them all into level 3s, which is really cool. I used its effect to tribute itself to make 2 of my guys level 5, my Fukumadoshi Piper and my Yo-Yo, so that way I could Synchro Summon in a Baron. So yeah, it doesn't come up a lot, but it comes up every now and then, so do keep that in mind when playing Hagoda. This should have been something else, but I'm kind of glad I had it. This is Kendama. This should have been a Stardust Charge Warrior for the extra draw, but there was a time where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go for burn damage, and then my opponent, like main phase, after battle phase, they only had 300 left, so I was like, okay, Synchro Kendama, burn for 5. And yeah, so it comes up, but not a lot. I would have rather had Charge Warrior. It's just one of those things. It does have another effect where, like, if you control no cards, you can bring it back, so it lets you, like, recover often evenly if it's in the grave, but I don't think it's worth playing over Charge Warrior in the grand scheme of things. I think it also does piercing damage, too, which is okay. 1 Juju for our other level 6. I like Juju. Juju's really good. Can't be destroyed by battle or card effects while I have 2 or more monsters with the same in the grave with same original type and attribute with different names, and then you can banish same type and attribute with different names to send a card on field to grave. So really strong monster, 2400 too, so pretty decent beater for a level 6. But yeah, mainly it's just a really, not a really big blocker, but it is a nice chump blocker for you with those effects. For our 7s, we played 1 Clearwing, 1 Clearwing Fast, and 1 Ignister. So Ignister Pegasus is actually really cool. I used this in my final game to, because I went into this and I popped, my opponent had anti-spell and I had speed recovery in my hand. So I activated this, I went into this, popped their face down, which they couldn't activate. And then I went into Baron and popped the anti-spell, so now I could activate the speed recovery, which this guy, really cool card. It also has the ability when a wind monster leaves the field, or a card you control leaves the field because of battle or opponent's card effect, you can banish this card from your grave, bounce 1 card they control back to the hand. Really strong card, really good card too. Nice utility monster. 8s are Crystal Wing and Kite Drake. Kite Drake actually was really cool. At one point, my opponent had Overmax made off of IP, so I couldn't kill it by card effect, but it was affected by card effects. So I went into Kite Drake, who has a blanket, non-targeting, negate everything else on the field. So really, really good monster. He has 3k base. So yeah, and then his other effect is that he nukes the board, which I did use as well. And if he dies, you get to search a Speedroid monster. So really strong card. Really useful like utility monster. It's either a board wipe or just a blanket negate to get rid of pesky effects. So yeah, really like Kite Drake, and he did come up. 1 QB Shen. Not everyone's on Shen, and I get why. He is an awkward level, and I didn't actually end up making this tournament. There was a couple times where I wanted to make it. No, I did actually summon it. It just didn't matter because they bounced it with Ultimate Slayer. But yeah, there was a couple times where I was like, oh, okay, Shen's pretty good. But I ended up not totally using it, and yeah, I get why people cut this. If I had to cut anything from my extra deck, like some people play 2 Cork, this would be the second Cork, like for real. It's okay. Here's the other kicker, 1 Baron. Yeah, Baron's expensive, but if you want to play Speedroid, Baron is one of the best cards you can play. Being able to just pop a card and also negate something, this is what got the final game, and it is 100% like necessary in my opinion. This was a godsend for the deck in like full on. You can play, before I show off the last card, it's not Crystal Clear. If you want to play Crystal Clear, like if you're playing against a lot of Trap Trick or Sky Striker, Crystal Clear could be really good, especially going first. Being able to negate those traps and make itself unaffected by everything is really nice. There's also a version of the deck where like where I think if you play Baron plus Crystal Clear, you have to play Prosperity. So yeah, that is something to think about. And then the last card I played was High Speedroid Clearing Rider, who did come up twice, which is more than I've ever summoned him in a 4-round tournament. So he came up twice, and he's really cool. I really like him. Being able to tag out into level 7s, which is kind of neat. You can turn him into a Fast Dragon, turn him into a Clear Wing. But the other cool thing is that you're just going to roll a dice, pop cards, and make him huge. So again, off of the Overmax, I turned Kite Drake into this with a level 3. So 8 to 11, really cool with a level 3 tuner. Yeah, Clearwing Rider is super cool. It just needs a wind synchro monster, so you can even turn like Ignister into it if you need to go into it, but usually Ignister is being turned into Baron. But yeah, that is it for the extra deck. I will actually show off the side deck for this one, just because I think the side deck for this is kind of neat, and I think Speedroids have a more uniform side deck for what they should be playing. So I played mainly board breakers for going second, because I knew people didn't want me going first, because I would set up like Baron and Crystal Wing, etc. So I played 3 Lightning Storm to hit back row. This is mainly back row hate and monster hate. I also played 2 Twin Twisters. This is just more back row hate, and also it's pretty good against the what's they're called, the Trap Trick guys, because then you can chain it to stuff. I played 2 Kaiju Slumber and 2 Dark Ruler. These were played because I wanted to get rid of monsters and whatnot, and these are played just to negate stuff. I played 3 Kaijus. I played 2 Godarla, 1 Gamma Seal. I didn't side in all 3 of these at any point. I sided in the 2 Slumbers and the 2 Kaijus, but I picked Godarla just because, like, if you drew it off of something, you could still summon it since it's a wind. And then my locals has a lot of Trap Trick, so I played 3 Royal Decree. Yeah, just there's a lot of Trap Trick and other things at my locals, so Royal Decree is good. Just ended like, yeah. There's also Labyrinth, so I figured if I was able to go first, like losing game 1, Royal Decree. It also stops evenly matched if I think my opponent might have it. But it didn't come up. I didn't get put up against any trap decks. It was mainly like combo decks and other weird stuff. So since my locals kind of has like a weird deck lineup. But that is it for my Speedroid Kashtira deck. Second place. Really happy with this. I absolutely adore Speedroids, and every now and then I like breaking out the deck just to be like, okay, what can I do with it this format? And format after format, it still seems like Speedroids can find a way to compete, and that's what I absolutely love about them. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this deck in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear your opinions. And with that said, Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.